But let's bring in Trent Baalke, GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars, here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Trent?
Good, Rich. How are you?
I'm doing great. Did Parcells give you your start? I'm just trying to figure out who's the one who gave you a start when you were a scout with the Jets back in the late 90s. Is that how you got your start,
Yeah, it was with Coach Parcells and Mr. Haley at the time.
And so, did you know Bill at all? Like, how did you get that? How did you get that role, Trent?
No, there was a longtime scout, Lionel Vitale, was on the scouting staff there, and he used to come into South Dakota State and North Dakota State when I was the pro scout liaison, and we developed a great relationship. And he had passed my name on to them, and they had an opening for a Midwest scout back in 1998, 99, and I was fortunate enough to get in with them.
And so, do you have a Parcells story, or you were just not too high on the flow chart and never really crossed paths with Bill?
Oh no, I still talk to Coach probably once every 2-3 weeks.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, we've kept in contact. He's been a big influence in my career, and certainly got me my foot in the door through him, and have the utmost respect for him and what he's done for the game of football.
So you know when the race goes off, wherever he's looking at a horse, and avoid calling him at that time. Is that how it works, Trent?
I say, yeah. He's got a big winner right now. He had one that had won 4 races in a row, and I haven't checked in with him to see if it won the 5th race. But if it did, he's got a pretty valuable horse on his hands there.
Okay. All right. Can you Google that for me, Chris? And maybe we give Trent this information before the end of the interview.
Yeah, let me know if he's won the 5th race in a row.
Back here on the Rich Eisen Show with Trent Baalke, the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So let's just jump right into this here, Trent. And what is the general mood there? I can only imagine it's great. Doug Peterson is as sunny as it comes. And you had a great finish last year, but just roll me through the general mood of Jacksonville Jaguar camp right now, Trent.
I think that the mood is very good. I think, we just moved into a brand new facility, state-of-the-art facility, so we've got all the tools we need here to do some good things. I think there's a lot of excitement coming off of last year. And Coach and I talk all the time, that last year's over. It's a new year, new challenges, new football team. Even though there's a lot of the same faces, every year the team's a little bit different. So we're excited about the way they're working, the way they're coming to work every day, the attitudes that they have. It's a young group. It's a fun group. It's got a lot of energy. And, of course, Coach, I think, does as good a job as anybody of messaging these guys and working with these guys.
Based from your perspective, when did things click? When did things take a turn? I know Doug mentioned the London game in which Trevor had a poor outing and took it to heart, and he completely turned things around on the turnover front there. But I'm just wondering where you would peg a turning point last year to the momentum carried to this conversation right now.
I think it was kind of a transition throughout that stretch where we were coming up short, and I thought Coach did an outstanding job of messaging the guys, and the guys believing in the message, and they just never quit working. You could tell that at some point it was going to turn. You didn't know when, but you just felt that at some point it would get there. And Coach mentioned the game in London and Trevor, and how he had taken that loss to heart and changed some of the ways he went about his business. But I just think it was a young group that Coach just kept the faith in, and they kept the faith in themselves, and they worked through it.
Trent Baalke here on the Rich Eisen Show. And your expectation level for Trevor Lawrence is for 2023?
Well, I think the sky's the limit for Trevor. He's got all the talent in the world. It's important to him. He's really taken on a leadership role. It's the second year in a system where he's got a great connection with obviously the head coach and the coaches that work with him on the offensive side of the ball. He's got great faith in the skilled position players around him and the offensive line. I think the sky's the limit, but there's a lot of work to be put in before we get there.
Give me your favorite Trevor Lawrence story because, again, you've been around some quarterbacks that are difference makers, certainly arms and legs. Kaepernick's a good one as well. I'll throw his name out there as well. But give me one story about Trevor Lawrence where you're like, okay, this is a special kid. You got one for me, Trent?
Well, I think you go back to his rookie year and just all the things that he dealt with and the way he handled the media through a time when, he was first time he'd ever experienced losing, in his career, in his life. And, just the way he handled it, for a young guy to come into this league with all the expectations, the weight of the world on his shoulders, and to fail for the first time in his career, his lifetime, in athletics, in the sport of football, and just the way he handled himself. I think every day I was more and more impressed with the way he just came to work and never got too high and too low. And I think one more story, I guess, Rich, would be, you throw 4 interceptions in a playoff game, and it's like water off a duck's back, and he just battled back through it, and it was like he just expected it of himself. I think you can learn a lot by watching a guy like that and how he handles adversity.
Was there any point in that rookie season where you were concerned about his development stunting, Trent?
I think no, because of the way he handled himself and the way he handled, just the setbacks and the adversity was just, it taught me a lot. Just looking at him and the way he handled himself, and so I wasn't worried about his development. I knew it would come. Sometimes you got to go through some tough times to get to the good times, and he showed that.
Is there a plan in your drawer anywhere in your desk, knowing that Trevor's going to come with a bag sometime next year, Trent, and say, fill it up? Is that part of your generally managing the situation right now?
Yeah, I think that's an expectation that we're all aware of, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. But, we got a lot of ball to play this year, and we'll worry about that when the time comes.
But it's coming, clearly, right?
Yeah,
Trent?
I guess the safe bet would be to say yes.
Well, I'm assuming that's why you won the Mega Millions, right, Trent? There in Jacksonville, the winning ticket was sold there, right? Was that part of that, right?
In order to win the ticket, you'd have to have bought a ticket. So
Okay.
I guess I wasn't the winner, but I live not too far from where the winner bought the ticket.
Oh, is that right? So.
Oh yeah.
So not to rub it in, but you could have, right? It's entirely. So let me ask you this question: had you won the Mega Millions, would you be on this phone call with me right now, Trent Baalke?
Well, absolutely.
Okay.
This is too good a situation to walk away from.
It's Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson and Shad Khan, for crying out loud. And this facility, I can't believe I'm going to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you this. I saw a photograph of these urinals that test people's, hydration levels. You don't even know what my question is. So, is that really? So, does it work? Does it actually work?
Yeah, absolutely it works.
I can't believe this. I mean, so you're testing hydration levels based on somebody unhydrating themselves? Is that what you're saying, Trent? Like this actually is a metric that's used by the Jacksonville Jaguars? For sure?
Well, I think all trainers use it. They usually have just a color chart up there that tells you, does your urine look like this? And if it does, this is your level of hydration. Now we got a little gizmo that does it for us. Okay,
there you go. Gizmo. All right. A new way of saying Jacksonville's number one is basically what you're saying, Trent. Okay, I get it. Very good. Tell me somebody that you drafted that you're particularly, obviously they're all important to you, that you're excited to see out there in preseason and what they can do based on what you saw and scouted, Trent.
Well, interested to see all these guys. I mean, at different levels, you get from the first pick on through the 13th pick. We had 13 guys that we drafted this year. We feel good about all of them at this point. Now they got to go out, and Saturday will be a great opportunity to, in front of the lights, under the lights, I should say, to show us what they can do in a game situation. But just want to see them compete.
Okay, very good. And then your general sense of playing starters in preseason play now, or in this kind of new world with three preseason games, an extra regular season game that won't be called extra for much longer. What's your opinion on that generally, Trent?
Well, I usually defer to the coaching staff on that, but Doug and I are on the same page there. We like to get the guys in. The starters are going to play a little bit in this game. How much? 1 series, 2 series, 3 series? That's up to coach, obviously, but we're going to get them out there and let them throw the ball around a little bit, and then we'll get the young guys in.
So Trevor's going to play, or that's or not? What do you think?
Yep, he's scheduled to play as of now.
Okay. And then just before I let you go, I asked this of every general manager coming on these days. The running back market, Trent, this is a major conversation in the National Football League right now, and I'm sure you've got some special running backs right there, including one that was chosen in the first round with Trevor Lawrence. What's your opinion of the running back market and what people are saying is a market being squeezed unfairly? Trent?
Yeah, I think every situation's different. I think every team's in a different position relative to the cap and where they want to, allocate their dollars. We place a strong emphasis. Obviously, we drafted one in the first. We drafted another one in the third. We got another one of our guys in the fifth. We do put draft capital into that position. I think it's a position that's very valuable. And why the market is what it is. I think, again, every circumstance is different, but we're going to continue to surround Trevor and our offense with high-level, high-quality backs.
But it just seems that teams are obviously cognizant of the cap at all times, but more so when it comes to running backs and willing to overspend or spend market value based on what others are making for other positions. Is it because you can use draft capital on the position and they do perform as well or close to as well as somebody who might be making 10x of what they're making as a rookie? Trent?
Yeah, I think that certainly plays into it. And again, what they bring to the table relative to individual offenses and the injury history of the position, the length, the duration of their productivity in the league. I think all those things factor in. I was fortunate in San Francisco when I was there to have Frank Gore. He was a timeless guy. 14 years in the league at the position. It's certainly not the norm at that position. So I think the injury history of that position does factor into this thing, and the length of time that they're highly productive factors into it as well.
Well, Travis Etienne strikes me as got a great head on his shoulders as well. Has he walked up to you down the road saying, "Hey, the running back market is going to be, is going to be expanded by me, so look out," or like, "Hey, what's going on?" Has he spoken to you about this at all?
Not
Trent?
at all. Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, he's a guy that he's just going to come to work and do his job, and he's going to let that thing play out. He's in his third year. Obviously, the first year he missed the entire season with a foot injury. So last year was really his rookie year for us. So we're looking forward to what he brings to the table year 3. We obviously brought in Tank and a couple other guys to help spread the wealth at that position group and keep guys as healthy as we can.
And then the last one for you, Trent Baalke, is I had a list of some of the top under the radar difference makers, people that are not being talked about significantly and how they can make a major difference for the team that's added them this year. And I mentioned Calvin Ridley at the top of the list. What does he look like to you, knowing what he's looked like before in Atlanta?
I don't think Calvin's really missed a beat, to be honest with you. we were pretty in tune with what he was doing in his off time. Knew some people that were real close to him and working with him during that time. He's hungry. He's ready to get back to being who he was on the football field, and I think he's kind of picked up where he's left off. He's a tireless worker. You can tell it's extremely important to him to get his name back, and we're just pleased with where he's at and pleased that he's a part of the program right now.
What are you willing to share about what you learned about what he was up to in his, as you said, downtime? What did he do?
We just knew he was training hard. He was putting in the time when a lot of guys wouldn't have been. And he was in the weight room. He was running. We were getting his GPS times. What he was running and who he was doing the work with, and so we had kept a pretty close profile on him, knowing that there was a possibility we were going to make a trade for him or try to make a trade for him.
Trent, really appreciate the time. Send my best to Coach. He's one of my favorite people I've gotten to meet and talk to in the league. And thank you for the time. Appreciate it. Have a great preseason. We'll talk down the road.
Thanks, Rich.
You got it. That's Trent Baalke, everybody, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. 844-204-RICH, number to dial here on the program. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.